So I gone and painted my character with a sculpture to give it a little bit more of a distortion and to use it as a displacement. And this is just to demonstrate the characteristics of using the displacement. And I have not done a lot to it, but I'm using just a little bit of a um, template here or a stencil better to get it to give the effect that I want to give. Right now is again I'm not spending too much time on the perfection of the effect, but rather on the amount of details that I wanted to give. But anyways, I have him displaced there. Um, let's see if I can get rid of it. There it is, and that is all in on the layers, the sculpt under level 5. So I want to export out all this bumpiness as a displacement. So we've done normal maps, we've done bump maps. This is actually a displacement map which will move the actual geometry out. It takes more time to render, but it's very, very effective when you do it properly. So when I select the object, I'll go to my object list, select the object. I'm going to go under UV and maps. I'm going to say extract actual map, new operation. And here I'm going to click on displacement map. That changes then the image, and what's going to happen is going to create a map that is going to modify the low res version into a high detail version. It's going to target the model at the low resolution at level 0, but it's going to be using the level 5 as the source for it. And we are going to use a method called subdivision, not raycasting, it's subdivision. And the subdivision creates one map for all the targets, and I'm going to make it a 2048 by 2048, so it has a lot of nice resolution. And I'm going to just give it 2x anti-aliasing. If you don't remember, anti-aliasing is to make the edges of the pixel a little bit smoother. Sometimes no anti-aliasing makes it a lot more detailed if that's what you want. I'm going to just put 2x for now. It's going to create a texture file, and I'm going to save that file under my source images. I'm going to call it Homer Displays. I had another one called test. I'm going to call this one head. That way I don't get confused. I'm going to save it there. I'm going to keep it at 8-bit, and I'm going to say extract. So that takes us a few seconds for it to export it out. It's calculating the displacement of that geometry. Is successfully finished. Now I go back to Maya, and in my Maya file I have my character, and for this we're going to create a new shader that will use Arnold. We haven't talked about Arnold yet, but at least we're going to show it here. So under the hypershade on the Arnold section, we're going to go under surfaces, and we're going to use a AI standard shader, which is the one that the Arnold comes with usually. And I'm going to connect to not to the shader itself, but to the shader group under the displacement mat. I'm going to connect a file, and I'm going to look for that file for the one that we just brought from Mudbox. So it's going to be Hummer displacement here. There it is. Just adding a number after that so that when I say open, and that file gets there, and I'm going to assign this shader to my object. Okay, right now the displacement has a value of 1, and here is the file of the movie. I may have to modify this number, and I will have to modify it actually, and I'm going to actually open up. I need to add a light because there is no lighting here, so I'm going to create under Arnold, and we'll talk about this later. I'm going to create a sky dome for now. That way we're going to have a dome illuminating this scene, and I'm going to just call the Arnold render view just to see it. So there it is. It is doing something there. I can see some displacement going on, but Homer doesn't really look the way I want him to look. So for that is when you have to say, okay, we're gonna bring down the. Let me just clean up this a little bit. Under the displacement node of the shader that we just created, we're gonna bring down the scale to 0.2, something small. I'm gonna move this out of the way, so that way it brings the character down to better, so it's not like a big bulky thing. And then we need to do something else to it. It's doing something already, but we need to do something else to it. And this is, I'm going to select the geometry, and under the graph attribute editor for the geometry under Arnold, we need to modify a few things under the subdivisions section for it. So when I tell it to use the type of subdivision, to use Cat Clark, and Cat Clark comes from Catmull and Clark, which were the people who came up with this technique, and the code to do it. I'm going to say the iterations that it will do, I'm going to bring it up to 4, meaning the 4 it will calculate a little more with more quality to it. And I'm going to get a bit closer. Just want to see if it is doing it. And it's doing it. It's just taking a little bit longer to do it, but I see a little noise there. And I am going to go down here, and I'm going to increase the height. Let me see, I'm going to try 2. And you can see how the bump of my character starts showing up. It sometimes gets the noise, you know, you have to fine tune between the number here and the number of the displacement node that is there. So between this number and the number here of the height and the bounding padding, you can also bring it up to 1, just to kind of try to generate the area for it to work. So little by little, where it doesn't find it, it generates a little bit of that kind of like stepping. So you have to actually give it a little, even if it is for the minor amount, you have to give it to all of it. That way that it doesn't give you that stepped effect. Let's just try to render a little segment of it to see if we can see the effect in a better section. There is this part that is making it a little bit better. I can see the displacement happening there in a better amount. You can increase the iterations a lot higher, but it's a matter of you playing with that to get it to because the more you do it, the slower it's going to become. Right, that is the displacement technique for now. I'll see you in the next video.